Hey everyone, I'm Mike Settele, and in this video, I'm going to speed run the easy modules from Practice Test 7 in the College Board's Bluebook app. So I have already done Practice Test 7, but I did both of the first modules, and then because I did very well in those modules, I got into the hard modules. So I've seen all of those questions. But for each of these practice tests, remember, there's another set of modules that you will never see if you just take the practice test straight. And for many of you, that will probably be those easy modules. And I think they're a great way to get a little extra practice. Even if you are shooting for those top scores, it can be very helpful to see the easy questions. So I'm going to show you how to set that up and get that extra practice. And then once I do that, if you want to pause and try this exercise yourself before you watch me do it, that's great. But regardless, if you've never taken Practice Test 7, do not watch this video. Make sure that you do that first. But then if you have, we're going to go to here, the full length practice test, and choose SAT 7 because I have not done this. Now, some of the questions I have seen, because in each of the easy hard modules, there are going to be two questions that the SAT, the College Board usually just kind of duplicates. They're the kind of pre-test experimental questions that don't really count for your score. I have no way of knowing which ones those are in the original test that I took, but here I might recognize one or two. But for the most part, I have not seen these questions. I purposely tried to avoid the spoilers for them so that I wouldn't have any sort of advantage here. But my goal with this little exercise is to just see how fast I can go. So especially if you're looking for a 700 or 750 or better in a subject, this is a valid exercise. We're not going to get a lot of hard questions in this easy module, but we should be able to move very quickly, very confidently, and very accurately through these modules. So I'm going to just try to hit my best time possible. So I am not going to do any explaining other than just my thinking out loud as I go through these questions. If you want a more full explanation, I will have individual videos for these questions eventually. So just look out on my channel for that. Practice Test 7 easy modules, they will be there, and that will give you much more detail. So if you've done these tests and got put in the easy module, this is not going to be a great way to review that. So here we go. Let's see what happens. We're going to do this. It's going to prepare the test. And then because you've already taken Practice Test 7, this first module is not going to do you any good because you've already seen these questions. So I don't care about it. In fact, I want to do badly in it so that I can get placed in the easy module. So I'm just going to go down to the bottom here and go to review page. And these are all blank, which means that I will get them wrong. So I'm just going to submit this blank first module so that it knows that I'm going to need to be placed in the easy module. So as soon as we do that, we're going to get in that easy module, and then I'm going to kind of start the timer. I'm hoping to get through these 27 easy reading questions in about 15 minutes. We'll see, right? This starts at 32, and so we'll see where we are at the end, but I'm just going to try my best. I might get something wrong, but we're going to try for speed, not necessarily thoroughness here. So here we go. Let's see how it goes. I have my scratch paper just in case. Okay, and we're going to go to the grammar questions first, as always, because that is where we want to go. Okay, so this is about verbs. Plural, singular, plural, plural, plural. So it's probably this. The map describes the area of a plot of land, shows a river. Yeah, okay, good. These are all pronouns. 18 letters. Author of the can be found at the New York Historical Society. These letters demonstrate Alcott's keen business sense. Yeah, there's 18 letters. Yeah, so plural. This is probably verb tense. The Dust Bowl was a period of severe drought that plagued the Great Plains of the U.S. during the 1930s. During this time, dust storms affected over 100 million acres of land. Yep, past tense. This is some sort of probably, let's see if this is right. What increases is the rate at which the water turns to vapor. With a pressure cooker pot, though, an airtight seal traps the vapor in the pot, creating pressure that allows the temperature to I think it's this. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, let's look at these. Between this, the Maurya Empire established a complex economic system that, through trade and centralized taxation, it seems just like a little interruption, funded major infrastructure projects throughout the Indian subcontinent. Yep, just to go to the comma. This is probably a modifier question, wanting to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Alaska Purchase. Who is celebrating it? The contest, no. An award, no. $300, no. The Alaska Centennial Commission wanted to celebrate it. They sponsored a contest that would award $300 to an individual who came up with a motto that best captures the state's unique character. Yep, done. Okay. It's probably something like this, but let's see. Leibniz wheel calculators were popular in the first half of the 20th century, but these ingenious devices were eventually replaced by electronic calculators. Yep, just 2 sentences, needs a comma and a conjunction. Here we go, transition questions. Okay. In his painting, this person aims to depict a bike race in 4-dimensional space. Of course, this painting doesn't technically represent a 4th dimension. Humans can only see in 3 dimensions. By depicting the race through multiple simultaneous perspectives, this person offers a fascinating glimpse at what this universe might look like. I feel like it's but is that said. Humans can only see in 3 dimensions, but by depicting this they're able to see it. It's not a moreover. In other words, for example, no, I think that's right. Oh, wow, and we're already at the outline question. Student wants to indicate where the short story takes place. It takes place in Harlem, okay. That's not a place. No. So there you go. It's got to be that. Student wants to define the term georeferencing. Okay, a 2017 project by this person assigned geographic coordinates to photographs of Puerto Rico's coastline and also used georeferencing. What is georeferencing? I don't know. This person used georeferencing in their analysis of the earliest known aerial photographs. Okay, but what is that? I don't know. Georeferenced aerial photographs from 1930 can help researchers analyze changes in Puerto Rico's coastline. Okay, but how? Georeferencing is the process of assigning geographic coordinates to an image so that mapping software can place it in the real world. Yeah, it sounds like a definition. The student wants to indicate how Fulton, Missouri got its name. How did it get its name? Fulton, Missouri shares its name with Fulton Street. Maybe. Fulton Street is in New York City where the steamboat Claremont was designed. Doesn't sound like the name. Designed in 1807 in New York City, Claremont was the first commercially successful steamboat. Fulton, Missouri is named after Robert Fulton, designer of the first commercial. Yeah, okay. Well, how did it get its name? It got its name from that, right? It didn't get its name from the city. The city of Fulton, Missouri is named after Robert Fulton. Good, okay. Student wants to contrast 2 styles of tiles. Tiles in the whatever can be found. That's not a contrast. Featuring tiles in these 2 styles. No, not a contrast. In the Arista style, designs are stamped into ceramic tiles, whereas is a good contrast word. Okay, among the famous tile works, no, that's not a contrast. So there you go. The student wants to use a quotation to challenge Thucydides' explanation of the conflict between Athens and Sparta. So, okay, these all look like they have quotations, so that doesn't matter. Challenge the Thucydides' explanation of the conflict. Okay, according to Allison's Thucydides' trap theory, whenever a rising power is threatening to displace a ruling power, conflict is likely. That just sounds like it's saying what it is. Thucydides wrote that conflict between 2 powers was inevitable, although Stuart later challenged the historical basis of this claim. Okay, but is that really saying that it was challenged? That's not really saying the challenge. I guess I'll leave it. According to Stuart, a clash of cultures between Athens and Sparta caused the conflict, not Athens' rise. Okay, maybe. Thucydides explained that conflict was caused by the rise of Athens and the fear this instilled in Sparta, but Allison disagreed, seeing the conflict. Okay, so this is why I may need to go to the bullet points for this. Allison's theory states that whenever a rising power is threatening to displace a ruling power, conflict is likely. The theory is based on Thucydides' explanation of the conflict between Athens and Sparta. Thucydides wrote that the rise of Athens and the fear this instilled in Sparta made conflict inevitable. So this is what Thucydides says. Okay, and we want to challenge that. History professor Erwin Stewart recently challenged that. He claimed that Athens was not a rising power and that the rivals experienced a clash of cultures. So the clash of cultures is the quotation. According to Stewart, a clash of cultures between Athens and Sparta caused the conflict, not Athens' rise, which is what that said. So this is a hard one. I'm going to bookmark it just because if I get something wrong, this feels like a likely mistake. But now let's go back to the beginning. Okay. On the basis of extensive calculations and models, astronomers in the 1990s predicted that the collision of 2 neutron stars or a neutron star and a black hole could release a massive burst of gamma rays in an event called a kilonova. This theory was confirmed with observations in 2017. Yeah, they predicted something, and that's a theory. So it's not evidence, it's not constant, it's not experiment. Yeah, theory. Taking photographs in the mid-1800s was complicated and expensive, but this changed the 1854 invention of this thing, a small photo that cost little to make. These photos helped to blank photography. They made it easy and enjoyable for everyday people to have their picture taken to, like, popularize it. Yes. Painter, whatever, was fascinated by the colors and shapes found in nature, the flowers and trees in the garden at her home in Washington, D.C. Inspired her work, something like that, influenced. For example, Thomas' use of broken brushstrokes was inspired by the way that light would shine through the leaves. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, restricted, announced, distracted. Yeah, none of those make sense. In the 1990s, conservation began planting more than 500,000 native trees in the habitat of the Azores bullfinch to boost the bird's numbers. This approach was apparently blank. The Azores bullfinch population size increased from as few as 100 birds at the end of the 1980s to around, okay, so it was effective. It was successful. Okay, all right, now we have real passages, and we've done what? This is like 8 minutes, 7. The majority of plastics today wind up in landfills that are at best recycled into materials that have a very limited range of applications. To address this problem, these people designed a reactor that melts these things into a wax. The wax can then be transformed to a surfactant, a chemical compound used as a detergent. So it's a definition. With the promising new method, the plastic waste could be turned into a range of useful cleaning products. Clarifies the meaning of a scientific term, maybe. Describes an environmental concern, no. It explains the significance, no. It identifies the result, no. It's defining something, it's a meaning, yeah. Main purpose. Archaeologists study the ancient city of Pompeii in Italy recently discovered a well-preserved food shop known as a thermopolium. The site contains food remains, artworks, and decorations. These items give researchers a better understanding of what daily life in Pompeii may have been like. For example, the archaeologists found a ceramic jar they believe life contained meat. So it gives them a sense of the daily life. Okay, daily life. Daily life. To compare ancient, no, it's not comparing. Discuss the political system, no, not political system. Present a okay, maybe. It's not about the climate, so yeah. Function the other line. In 2023, literary scholar Jeremy Douglas cautioned technology investors and enthusiasts to predict conventional books' ultimate displacement by newer forms of media. So he cautioned those people. Douglas observed that the concept of an interactive text is much older than technologists assume, extending back to the first time readers scratched notes into a text margin. In addition, newer media such as video games haven't replaced older forms of entertainment such as comic books, but rather exist alongside them. Douglas believes that rather than supplanting books, technology is simply making new forms of expression possible. So this is just kind of an example, I guess. It challenges the stance of the investors and enthusiasts who are mentioned earlier in the text. Yeah, maybe. It explains the basis for the claim made by the technologists. No, the technologists are saying that it's going to be replaced. And he's saying the idea of an interactive text is much older, so it's not explaining their view. It suggests that academics are better suited than investors to see the potential. No, it's not a comparison. It provides a historical anecdote about the technological challenges involved in reading the earliest. And no, it's not about reading the earliest one. So it challenges the stance of the investors and enthusiasts. Yeah, because they're saying that conventional books will be displaced, but it's challenging that by saying that interactive texts are not new, and so it's challenging their view that they'll be replaced. So again, I'll bookmark this because it's on the harder side, but I'm pretty good about that. What feature of this thing does the text say is helpful for the process of making rubber? Oop, I didn't mean to do that. This thing, a tree, is the world's main source of natural rubber. The tree produces a milky substance called latex that is used to make rubber. The bark of this thing is helpful for the process of making rubber because it's a unique structure that makes it easy to collect latex. A network of tubes in the tree's inner bark helps the latex to flow out easily when people make small cuts. Okay, so the helpful feature is the bark. Its latex produces rubber. Nope, it's not about the latex. Its bark has a unique structure that makes it easy. Yes, it is able to grow in a wide variety of climates. No, it is one of the only 2 trees. Don't care. Yeah, okay, so definitely that. All right, graphs are easy on the easy module. What percentage of participants mentioned costs? Costs, 50%. Let's just make sure. The graph shows 3 of the factors mentioned. So yeah, 50% costs. Yeah. Okay. According to the table, what is the total area of Bahrain? Total area, 304. Yeah. Illustrates the claim. The speaker claims to feel protected by the mountain. A dry ravine emerged under the bow. No. The mountain stood there to be pointed at. No. That felt like a wall behind which I was sheltered, protected. Yeah, definitely that. Most effectively illustrates the claim. The narrator was frightened of the sailor, as can be seen. So frightened of the sailor. So that's the claim. I remember the sailors were yesterday as he came plodding to the inn door, his sea chest falling behind him in a hand barrow. Doesn't sound frightening. The sailor was a very silent man by custom. All day he hung around the cove or upon the cliffs with a bass telescope. Again, doesn't sound frightening. All the time he lived with us, the sailor made no change whatever in his dress, but to buy some stockings from a hawker, one of the corners of his hat having fallen down, he let it hang from that day forth. That was a great annoyance when it blew. Doesn't sound frightening. How the sailor haunted my dreams. I nearly scarcely tell you. The stormy nights when the wind shook the 4 corners, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's it. Which choice most logically completes the text? The national tree is a rare variety of cacao. Nationals were thought to have gone extinct in the 20th century due to a fungus. This fungus can spread from tree to nearby tree through the air and causes disease. But around 2013, this guy located some of these trees. The trees were in this place with a hard-to-reach valley. Conservation inferred the national trees in this place might have avoided the diseases that wiped out the other nationals because they were, separated. They were in a hard-to-reach valley. Because early 20th century science does not know why so many times. No. The ability of the fungus to travel through the air was only recent. No. They were too far from the other national trees affected. Yes. The chocolate. Yeah, definitely that. Okay. Logically completes the text. Pigments give paints and dyes their color. Ochre is a mineral-based pigment used to make several colors, including red. Gets its color from iron oxide. Pigments can also be plant-based. Plant-based pigments contain a high level of carbon. In a 20th study, archaeologists tested the red pigment on decorated beads made by members of the Natufian culture approximately 15,000 years ago. The test showed that the pigment found on several beads contained no iron, but had a high level of carbon. Okay, so what was the carbon one? Plant-based. So it's probably plant-based. Then if they examine the study of the oldest surviving examples, I don't know that they're the oldest. But it sounds like plant-based is good. The Natufian bead makers use plant-based pigments rather than ochre to decorate some of the beads. Yeah, sure. They preferred to use plant-based pigments because they were much brighter. No, we don't know what they preferred. The pigments used by these people, bead makers, likely came from plants. I don't know if it was difficult to find, right? It just says that it has carbon, no iron, and a high level of carbon. So the iron is from the ochre. Ochre? I think that's how I'm saying that, right? Beans use plant-based pigments rather than ochre to decorate some of the beads examined in the study. Yeah, because it's carbon. Okay, and that's it. So about 19 minutes. Let's just do that for the sake of math here. So before I move on to the math section, right? This is a 32-minute section. Took me 19 minutes. So that's what? 13, roughly? 13 minutes? Is that math right? Good thing it's not the math section yet. 20, 12, 13. So 13 minutes for 27 questions. Again, I don't know if I got them all right. I will reveal that at the end. But I felt good about everything I was doing. Even some of those were hard. I would say this one is a little hard. I see the traps, but I think someone might fall for them, even if they took time on this. But it's important, right? Why are we doing this exercise? Yes, we want to get questions right. Yes, we want to, move as fast as we can. But it's also about noticing the potential dangers in questions as fast as we can. So I guess I shouldn't talk too much until I know for sure I got a question like this right. But oldest surviving pigments, that they preferred something, that where they likely came from that was difficult to find. These are things that are going to appear in much harder questions in their answer choices. And the passage might be much harder to understand than this one was, but you've got to be able to recognize those potential traps just as fast as I did. So that's another aspect of this exercise here. So cool. Well, then let's move on and let's do the math. So 7, 14, 27. Normally I'd write 7, 14, and 27 on my scratch paper so I know which ones I bookmark, and I guess I will just for the sake of good habits. So 7, 14, 27. But unlike you, I have a video of me taking the test, so I have a record of it. But remember, the Bluebook app does not save your bookmarks, and these are really good, especially when we take regular practice tests under regular conditions. We need to know which questions we struggled with because we might get them right, and we might need to go back to them and learn something from them, even though we got them right, because maybe we could have gotten them right faster or more efficiently. Anyway, let's go to the math. So we're going to go right into it. I feel like 13 minutes was pretty good there. 13 minutes. Pretty good. Yeah, so what does that come out to? Like 30 seconds a question, even for those passages? So now some of them, obviously, like grammar, I was going much faster than that. But here with the math, we're going to do the same thing. This is the first module, so I'm going to go to the review page, get them all wrong, and it's going to put me in the easy module. I might need some scratch here for the math section. But I'm going to try to do as much in my head as possible for speed. And here we're just going to start with the first one. A total of 165 people contributed to a charity event as either a donor or a volunteer. 130 people contributed as a donor. How many people contributed as a volunteer? So it's just a subtraction problem. So 35. Data set consists, the graph shows the number of times each color appears in the data set. Which color appears 70 times? Green. Value of P satisfies this equation. So 275, that's 50. And then divided by 2 is 25. 2 times 25 is 50. 50 plus 275 is 325. Yes. Blah, blah, blah. Line of best fit. At a distance of 4,000 feet, what is the temperature predicted by the line of best fit? 4,000 is 35. Rectangle P is an area of 72 square inches of a rectangle with an area of 20 square inches is removed from rectangle P. What is the area of the resulting figure? So just 72 minus 20 is 52. Rectangle is removed. Yep. What is the vertex? 0, 2. Number of raccoons is estimated to be that. What is the estimated population density in raccoons per square mile? So I'm just going to take 2358 on my regular handheld calculator here, 2358, and divide it by 131, and I get 18. 2358. Remember raccoons? Yeah, raccoons per square mile. 2358 divided by 131. Just make sure I entered that right. Looks good. What is the value of 72x? So multiply by 9. 9 times 6 is 54. Data set has 3 numbers, is selected at random. What is the probability of selecting a positive number? 1 in 3. I feel like I've seen that question before. What is the value of x? It's 162. Yep, just making sure I read everything right. Which expression is equivalent? So 23x, that would be that. No, that doesn't make sense. No, that doesn't make sense. 2x squared, 9x, that looks good. This makes no sense. Okay, so 9 and 6 is 15, so that's good. And that's x to the third, so that goes and that goes. And then we would have how many x squared? So plus 5x squared plus 5x plus 2. Yeah, looks good. Okay, this thing is about us crates, whatever. What is the monthly fee of the facility charges to keep 50 crates in storage? So crates is X, the fee is the result. So we're going to do 45 times 50 plus 600 is 2850. Honestly, I'm more worried about making a mistake here if I'm reading too fast than I was in the reading. What is the monthly fee? 50 crates. Yeah, looks good. 2850. Yep. There are 450,000 a box. 6% are black. How many black tiles are in the box? 0.06 times 450. 27. Okay, initial value of 890. That looks good. Value of the count doubled every 10 years. So it's going to be a 2. And then if we had 10 years go by, that would be this. So that would do it. This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Okay, for which of the following tables are all the values of x and their corresponding values of y solution? So x is less than 22. Is that good for all of them? No. No. And then y is less than x. So y is less than x, y is less than x, y is less than x, y is greater than x, y is greater than x, y is greater than x. Done. Line x plane is the slope of 9 and passes the point 0, -5. What is the value p? P is the slope. 9. Yeah, slope of 9. Okay. What is the value of 4? 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 times a half is 5. This question was on the hard module, and I was in the exact same spot, basically, and it threw me off last time. Slope of the graph. Okay, fine. I'm going to use my scratch paper here. This is a good example where I could still screw up. So this is 19. We've got 10x minus 5y equals -12. So -5y equals -10x minus 12. Do I care about the minus 12? No, ignore it. -5, -5, -10 divided by -5 is positive 2. -10 divided by -5, 2. One of the two equations in a system is given. The system has infinitely many solutions. Which equation could be the second equation in the system? So infinitely many solutions is the exact same line. So if we multiplied it, we got to do it to everything. So I think it's this one, right? This is going to have a different slope. That's no good. And this will divide out. So divide by 2, we end up in the same place. So this is a case where if I normal test, I would put this in Desmos, but just to double check, but good enough for now. What is the value that satisfies this? Okay. So f of 5 would be absolute value of 5 minus 20, which is the absolute value of -15, which is 15. And so we need 15 minus f of a is equal to -15. So minus 15, negative f of a is negative 30, so f of a is 30. Okay, well, it's not 5, because we just did that. 10 would be 10 minus 40. So 10 minus 40 is negative 30, and then, yeah. So again, I would check this if I weren't trying to go fast, but I think that's going to be right. In August, a car dealer completed 15 more than 3 times the number of car sales the dealership completed in September. In August and September, the car dealer completed 363. Okay, so I need some sort of system of equations for this. So in August and September, so A plus S is 363. And in August, a car dealership completed 15 more than 3 times the number. So August is 3 times September plus 15. So 35, 30, let's just do X here. Stupid September. 3x plus 15 plus x is a little substitution equals 363. 4x equals minus 15. So 363 minus 15 is 348 divided by 4, 87. Okay. Again, I would go to Desmos here. I would double check all my math and everything, but I think for now I'll just check that these are equal to 363. And August completed 15. How many cards? Oh, did it complete in September? September is X. Yes. So that I got to make sure I do right. So, and then, so 15 more than 3 times. So 87 times 3 plus 15 plus 87, 363. Cool. All right. We got to about 27 minutes there. And I think the math is 35 minutes and we did 27 minutes. So what is that? 8? Is that right? 35 minus 27 is 8 minutes for 22 questions. Now, again, I could have gotten something wrong. We're going to check in a second. Let's submit this. I'll take a break as my test gets scored. But yeah, the easy module, even in math, most of the questions are just looking at graphs and stuff. But if I got something wrong, I read as fast as I possibly could. But I'm happy with 8 minutes there. And I'm rounding a little bit, so a couple seconds here and there. But you guys can put that in the comments if I'm off by too much in your opinion. But let's pause this, and I will pull up the screen with my score, and we will see if I made any careless mistakes. All right, and here we go. As I go to my College Board website, mypractice.collegeboard.org/dashboard, I get all my practice test scores. There's tons in here from all sorts of experiments and things, but the one that matters most is right here, practice test 7. Today is April 8th, 2025. And of course I did badly. I got half the questions wrong in each module, right? So 390, 430, but I was not interested in the score. What I was interested in is how many did I get wrong in each subject. So if I go down here and then take a look, this is everything, but it's probably easier in this case to look at it by subject. Reading and writing, 27 correct, 27 incorrect. And remember, since I left that first module completely blank, that's all these incorrect ones. And you can see that omitted, omitted, omitted. Let's hit all here. And then as we get to the second module, lots of correct answers. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to get everything right. I did. So that's really good. If I do the same thing in math, you can see the same thing happening. 22 correct, 22 incorrect. All those incorrect ones are in that first module where I omitted all the questions. And then all of the correct answers are in the easy second module where I got everything right. So I was fast. I was accurate. I felt good about everything I was doing. I wasn't really guessing ever, even on those passages where maybe things got a little hard. And like I said in the break between reading and math, the point of this exercise is to also test out how quickly you're able to kind of recognize those traps. There aren't going to be many of those kind of questions in these easy modules, but gosh, you still need to be able to recognize those things and recognize them quickly and automatically. So I would say for most people, that is like the key is, are you able to sort through these questions and notice some potential problems quickly. Even in math, I kind of kind of glanced over this, but this was the last question, and I almost kind of ignored it, but there was a potential trap here, right? This question is asking about August and September, and then they happen to ask for September, which you might remember was my value of X, but they could have easily asked for the value for August. And it wouldn't have really changed any part of my process, except at the end, I would have needed to take this value for X and pop it into one of these equations to solve for the A value, the August value. So that would have made it harder because it's easy to miss that, right? And I almost continued on and just submitted my answers without checking for that. But I was thinking about traps. I checked for it. I read it one more time to make sure I was giving the right thing. In this case, there didn't happen to be that trap. But it's that thought, the idea of thinking about those things that really, really matters. So I would say that's a valuable part of this exercise is, are you getting things wrong because you're adding or subtracting wrong or multiplying wrong or whatever? Or are you getting things wrong because you are misreading questions? And forcing yourself to go fast forces you to notice how likely are you to fall for that. If you beat my time, feel free to let me know in the comments. I am curious. So remember, it was 8 minutes for the math section and roughly 13 minutes for the reading section. I'm proud of both of those numbers. Those are really good. 8 minutes in particular for 22 questions. Gosh, that's really fast. What does that come out to? 8 divided by 22 is like 0.36 of a minute, which is 20 seconds roughly per question on average. That's impressive. I'm happy with that. And just to show you the full picture here, right? We also have the score report with these boxes. These never really mean much, and especially here you can tell, like, I got everything right in that second module. What gives the distribution of these things is really just what affects these boxes more than anything else, right? I mean, we did not have very many transition questions in that easy reading module. So does that mean I got a little bit of a boost in the expression of ideas? Does it mean it hurt me a little bit more? I got tons of vocab right. I got all the vocab ones I was given right, and all the passages that would have fallen into craft and structure, and yet it says I'm terrible at it. So I don't put a lot of stock in these boxes in any circumstance, but especially here, right? It doesn't mean anything. It's just random distribution of the questions. So as always, the best way to review any question is to kind of use my channel. Like I said, I have already specific videos for every single question from the first module, from the hard module, and soon to come, by the time you watch this, I might already be done, I will have individual videos for each of the questions in these easy modules as well. So that way you can get a more detailed picture of what to do and what I was thinking as I was solving them, as well as some other alternative methods that maybe were a little slower that I didn't bother to try here. But that is the best way to review any practice test, is using the videos on my channel, because, gosh, going back here, who wants to read all this? Come on, not me. Certainly not me. Oh, terrible, right? It's not going to tell you to guess and check either, like I did. So their explanation is not so great. If you have questions, though, feel free to put them in the comments. Again, if you got close to or beat my times, I'd love to know that. And remember, check out the Settele Tutoring homepage for individual lessons and strategy sessions, all sorts of things. This is mostly just a little fun exercise. But if you are looking for more practice questions, remember, even if you run out of practice tests, these easy modules are sitting there, and there are new questions in there. They're easier overall, but they are still valuable practice for lots of different skills that you're going to need for the test. So don't neglect those. And I showed you at the beginning how to get into them. Once again, I'm Mike Settele, founder of Settele Tutoring. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, when it comes to your scores, don't settle for less, Settele for more.